Hi, boys and girls. It's Miss Matthews here again. We are continuing our data analysis, and today we're looking at dot plots. When you see a dot plot, the dot plots may use dots or symbols to represent data. Here's an example of what a dot plot looks like. When you have a dot plot, there will be a number line. There will be describing words, and this one is about books read over the summer break. There will also be labels, number of books read, and the number of books read is if there's a student who didn't read any books, there will be a dot here. If they read one, if they read 2 books, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9 or more books. And then sometimes there is a key. On this one, there is a key, and one dot means one student. So as we continue to look at dot plots, keep that in mind. Today we are going to be plotting on the line. Sometimes you may hear dot plots being called a line plot or a dot plot. Today our label says number of letters in the first names. And so when we look over here, it says how many letters are in your first name. And we have this information right here, all these numbers. We've already gathered our data. And so we're going to summarize our data. When you're doing a dot plot, that means whatever that number is, you are going to put a dot on that number. For example, our first number is 5, so we're going to put a dot on 5, and I'm going to just mark it out. Our next number is 3. I'm going to put a dot on 3 and mark it out. A dot on 4 and mark it out. A dot on 5 again. I'm not going to put it next to each other. I'm going to stack it. A dot on 8 and mark it out. A dot on 3 and mark it out. A dot on 5 and mark it out. A dot on 6 and mark it out. A dot on 7 and mark it out. And I'm marking it out so I can know which ones I've already plotted on my line. A dot on 6 and mark it out. A dot on 4 and mark it out. A dot on 8 and mark it out. A dot on 3 and mark it out. A dot on 5 and mark it out. On 8, mark it out. On 5, mark it out. On 8, mark it out. On 6, mark it out. And on 5. So when I looked at my numbers, I should have 20 dots on my line. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And so that tells me that I have actually plotted all of my dots on this number line. So when I look at this data, I see that the number of letters in first names, so the one who has the most amount of students with the same number of letters in their first name would be 5 letters in their names because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And as you can see that that dot goes up higher than the others. And the ones who have the least would be if they had 7 letters in their name or 10 letters in their name. So let's go ahead and continue moving on to another. So now we're looking for what is your age. And so when we're looking at what is your age, then we are looking to see that there have already been some data that we can summarize right here for what is your age, and it has it right here. We're going to go ahead and plot the age for this one. And if you look at the very bottom, it says number of years old. So they are 7, 8, 9, and 10 years old in this one classroom. So the first number is 8. I'm going to put a dot on 8 and mark that out. On 10 and mark that out. On 9 and mark that out. On 8 and mark that out. Oh, look, 8 again and mark that out. On 9 and mark that out. On 8 and mark that out. On 9 and mark that out. On 7 and mark that out. on 10, and mark that out. On 8, on 9, on 8, on 9, on 8, on 10, on 7, on 8, on 9, on 10. Oops, made a mistake. And on 10. Okay, so when we look at this graph, clearly the number of years old, there are only 2 students who are 7 years old, and there are how many students that are 10 years old? You got it, 4. And there are the most amount of students are 8 years old in the classroom. Very good. Let's look at another dot plot. On this one, I want for you to try it. So you will need paper and pencil for this. You can pause the video, get your paper and pencil, and then start it again. It says, how many pets do you have? And of course, again, we have our data right here that we've already collected, and we need to summarize the data. I want for you to draw a number line. And at the bottom of the number line, I need you to write number of pets and 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then I need for you to create your dot plot. I'm going to start you off. So the first one says 0. I'm going to put a dot here and mark it off. 1 and mark it off. And you may continue. So I'm going to give you just a few minutes to continue. As you are thinking about this, I want you to just continue to work your dot plot. I would call the numbers and you put the dot on the line. 4, mark it off. 5, mark it off. 1, mark it off. 3, mark it off. 1, mark it off. 2, mark it off. 3, mark it off. 1, mark it off. Your dot plot should look just like this so far. Okay, continuing. 2, mark it off. 4, mark it off. 1, mark it off. 3, mark it off. 2, mark it off. 1, mark it off. 5, mark it off. 0, mark it off. 2, mark it off. 0. So your dot plot should look exactly like this when you are done. Number of pets. And when we look at our data on our dot plot, then we can look and see that right here at the very top, we have how many people have no pets? We have 3 people who have no pets. How many people do we see have 1 pet? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people only have 1 pet. It may be a dog or a cat or a fish or a bird or a rabbit. Just 1. How many people have 2 pets? We have 4. How many people have 3 pets? We have 3. How many people have 4 pets? We have 3. How many people have 2 pets? 5 pets? We have 2. Okay, only 2 people have 5 pets. So when you're thinking about what you've seen in your data right here, we are thinking about information. You may find questions that ask you how many people have 4 or more pets. And if you have a question like that, then you have to look at 4 pets and more. So when we're looking at that, we can see that there are 5 dots. So that would be the answer for 5. So if we're asking how many people have less than 2 pets, Less than 2 pets means the smaller numbers below 2, so it'll be either 1 or 0. So we look it over here and we see that we have 6 and then we have 3. So altogether, have less than we have 9 people who have less than 2 pets. So um, we have, if we ask you the question of how many people have 2 or 3 pets, what would your answer be? You got it, 7 pets. Well, that's it for me today, boys and girls. I hope that you enjoyed this video and that it will help you with your work this week. Bye.